Hey, everybody, the Gold Cup is underway. Got a 5-0 win. Malik gets on the score sheet for the first time in a U.S. shirt. Pretty fun. I got Vince here and Charlie Boehm helping us out yet again. How are you doing, Mr. Boehm?
I'm so honored to be back. I gotta stay on track here, keep doing things right, get rewarded for scuffed performances. And let's see what happens one game at a time.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like I'm just like all the people in Eindhoven are already in love with you. I'm falling in love with you too. You know?
That's a preview, folks. That's a trailer.
So, TNT was terrible, really bad, really, really bad. This is not this even by TNT on American soil standards. This was a bad performance from them. So, what are we taking away, Vince? Why don't you kick us off? What are you taking away from this game? Before we get to the lineups, before we get to the timeline.
Look, man, throw it to somebody else first. All
right.
I'm still trying to decide. I was going to listen to y'all first and then decide what my takeaway is going to be.
Your silence was so powerful, though.
I mean, your silence is instructive because it is, it's tricky. But I think there's some stuff to take away. What about you? Yeah, you will. What about you, Charles?
I forget the exact phrase I use in writing about this game for MLS Soccer, but this was mandatory, essential, nonetheless vital, something to that effect, because it's a box you have to check and you want to try and do it in the most effective and encouraging way possible. And I think that was done. It is going to get, Pochettino said, and I think the calendar makes clear that it's going to get a lot harder. Even still just in the group stage where should I run the number?
Yeah.
Should I run the number, guys?
Run the number.
The United States men's national team is now 41-1-5. That's 41 wins, 1 loss, and 5 draws all time in Gold Cup group play. And they've won their group on 16 out of 17 occasions. So this is going to get harder against the Saudis and the Haitians. But nonetheless, we're on course here, I guess you could say, if you're trying to feel good again as a supporter.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia, 9:15 p.m. on Thursday night, by the way. That's going to be a little bit of a more tricky game for sure. I'll say Pochettino still has a lot to prove for me. Lots to prove. Because yeah, some things went well in this game against a really bad opponent, and we did check the box. But even amid the success of yesterday afternoon's game, I'm looking and I'm saying, why is John Tolkien not getting any minutes here? Like, why is Josh Sargent not in this camp? And some of this stuff just doesn't make any sense.
Well, you know why? Because he's not a mannequin, Adam Belz. You forget that. You forget that about the BBQ king, Mauricio Pochettino. So,
he's an in real life person. That's what he is.
Right. He's a real boy. Shout out Pinocchio.
Shout out Pinocchio. Yeah.
And he was exercising some demons, man. I think it was the second goal when the camera catches him on the sidelines, 2 hands in the air, head down. Like he just won a gold medal or something. And I felt like he was saying, "Take that, Christian Pulisic. Take that." Would you pick off a back pass from who was that?
Alvin Jones.
Alvin Jones. Sorry. Could you pick off a back pass from Alvin Jones? I don't know. And until you show me that you can do it, you better be worried about your spot on this World Cup roster, buddy.
Yeah.
Think you run stuff around here?
No. He even admitted, I'm going to play the full audio at some point, but he even admitted he didn't really understand Malik at first. Took him a while to come around to him. The whole touch him and feel him thing it's apparently very real. I don't think he watches any film. He probably doesn't watch any film at all. it doesn't seem like he does. And he never talks about like this is the way the guy been playing, in the Netherlands or something. It's like, what
Not
did
once.
the club tell him about the player, and what has he learned in person from that player?
Yeah, so that was this actually was something I kind of want to talk to you about. You were in that press conference in Nashville, Bells, when Poch talked about getting a tip about Alex Freeman from Oscar Pereira or something like that. Is that what?
Yeah. That's all. It was all just. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I just wanted some more color on that.
Well, yeah, it was all just like we heard that he was a good player, and this was really valuable information, and it's been confirmed in camp. I'm like, bro, you can watch this player play soccer. It's possible.
Yeah, but Bells, he lives in London. That's far.
Time difference.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the night in London.
That's true.
Orlando City plays.
I mean, yeah, it's too bad DVR wasn't invented until 2001 or whatever.
Now, obviously, what's that? Occam's razor would probably lead you to believe that, of course, the BBQ King Mauricio Pochettino watches film. He's grinding it at all different times of the night, just like any other obsessive sport coach. But I do think we have a little bit of evidence on our side, and it's just like the quotes too. Like before we recorded, like we were talking, and Charles Chuck noted that Mauricio can be pretty loose with what he says, and then not in a bad way, but like not as guarded as a traditional sport coach would be. And the fact that while being loose, he has not mentioned any of this film that he's watching, it does kind of lead you to believe that maybe he's not. But
we can't say for sure. We can't. I think we can't say for sure. He's got a guy for that. I think you're right. Yeah,
I'll bet there's some kind of compilation thing happening. If not, I mean, you can't. Yeah, don't anyone think we're slandering an extremely accomplished manager.
Well, I
thrived on Europe's biggest stages.
But I'm potentially slandering him, I just want to be clear about that. And it's not, strictly speaking, slander. If we're going to go by the dictionary definition, we don't know for sure if he's watching film, but it's not something he emphasizes. Like
there are data points in your favor.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let me play the Malik quote, because I think it sort of speaks to this a little bit. And for me, Malik's the guy. That's a big takeaway from this game. If we're going to win the Gold Cup, it's going to be to a large extent on his back. And here's a question from Ryan Tolmich and answer from Poch.
Mauricio, Ryan Tolmich from goal. Malik Tillman goes out and scores those 2 goals, and those are his first 2 goals for the U.S. men's national team. And it's been a little bit of a wait for him, and you've obviously seen him develop on the club level with PSV. What have you seen different from him this summer, and what are the things that you saw from him today that really allowed him to take control of the game?
I think Malik is a talented player. It's obvious that everyone can see. What changed, I think, is, of course, I understand better him now. First few time, October, November, when we met for first time, I think was difficult to create this relationship that the player need and the coach need to trust and to trust each other. That is about time. I think now after a few weeks together, I really start to understand him, and him start to understand us. And he's very special, very special talent, and it's very special kid. He's a fantastic kid. I think we are, like in PSU, all in love with him. Now we start becoming in love, myself and the coaching staff, with him, creating this relationship. I'm so happy, because I think when people say, yes, you need time, yes, we need time, because we need time to create that link that can provide the players to perform, fight for you, and die for you, and the same for the coach. Trust. Knowing that the player is going to fight for you and die for you. And that is why I think we are so happy, because it's a talented player, one of the most talented players I think that we have in USA.
So some of the stuff he said is a little hard to hear, but he says, at the beginning, he says he's obviously, anybody can see he's talented. And then he also says at PSV, everybody loves him. Now we are starting to all love him too, just as they do in Eindhoven. So he just couldn't see. I think it's just fascinating.
You could see him. He could not feel him.
Yeah.
That's right.
They had not created the link where they were willing to die for each other, but now they have it.
Am I reading too much by immediately pondering whether he has simply not felt Christian Pulisic, and that's what's the undercurrent of that back and forth, sort of slow-mo back and forth we're getting here? Because there's something, and I will say this is not limited to Poch. Like even Berhalter and lots of other coaches I've watched over the years, as much as they're watching club level tape, it's like what they see in front of their own eyes in their camps always counts for more. And I think that's a big source of like of fan discontent.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's that much, Pulisic doesn't strike me as the most tactile person, on earth by a long stretch. So, I mean, there's probably not a lot to feel, maybe there is, but and then I wonder, I think about Josh Sargent too. Like, did Josh come in and just not, I don't know, didn't strike the right tone with Poch, or maybe the same thing's going on with Tolkien. Like I've been joking, he can't figure out the cut of Tolkien's jib. That's why he's not playing. But he loves the cut of Max Arfsten's jib. We had the founder of Oakland City Roots in our mentions on Twitter saying that he's worked with Max. He knows people who have worked with him. His mentality is sky high. He's going to Toulouse, because I was kind of making fun of the fact that Poch thinks he's like the best American player. I mean, he's played almost every minute of this camp so far.
I really thought we might see Tolkien yesterday. And,
Same.
I mean, and he spoke to the media alongside Reem on Friday, which is sometimes a little bit of a clue as to where they are in the hierarchy. And yeah, it's very interesting. But it's also a tight group stage, so he could make significant changes. I get the sense that Poch wants to figure out a group and ride it though.
Yeah,
the front four that have now got started against Turkey and against TNT, with that kind of interesting trio in the band of three, who are these distinct players that are being used in somewhat distinct way by Poch, with Luna, Tillman, McGlynn behind Aguimang. And I think you're starting to see, and maybe that's him trying to maximize the value of the Switzerland embarrassment, is like, these are some guys and we're going to go with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, that does seem like the first choice front four right there for sure.
I would never have predicted that. I mean, that collection of individuals is like fascinating to me.
What is the McGlynn part? The part that's would have been difficult to predict, him playing right wing.
Yeah.
I mean, he does do it for Houston, but yeah.
He's never even in Philly, when he would kind of get shoehorned into a diamond midfield, it would be, I'm trying to think if he played on the right much. I think he's usually on the left. So there's just something particular that Poch is seeing or feeling, or both there.
I mean, those are all three true footballers, in my opinion. They like to play the game of soccer, and they're good at it.
That can't be a coincidence, right?
No.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's my takeaway, is that I really just enjoy watching Luna and Malik in particular just find space to attack. They do it, like, their movement is just so intelligent. It's subtle, of course. Luna jumps off the screen a little bit more because of everything I've talked about before: tattoos, personality. blonde hair, etc. But Malik just gets it done in his languid manner, and you think he's just chilling, but when you really look at it, when you really dive deep into what Malik's doing out there, you can see that he's just he's just controlling the game.
Yeah, he does have an understated way of doing a lot of stuff.
Which is why I was similar to Poch in that, it took me a while to come around on Malik. I had to, you gotta really get in the lab and watch him.
Right. Huh. Luna added the wax tips to his mustache for Sunday's game, which I think is noteworthy and noteworthy. A lot of hustle bustle from him. Let's do the lineups and then the timeline. We're going to try to be disciplined. I say this every time, but we'll see how it goes. Matt Freese in goal. Alex Freeman. So he gets the nod over Turner. I think that probably bears further discussion. Alex Freeman, Chris Richards, Tim Ream, and Max Arston across the back line. Luca De La Torre and Sebastian Berhalter will be the double pivot, I guess, nominally. And then McGlynn, Tillman, Luna, as we have just recently discussed, the band of three, and then Pat Agyemang up front. Trinidad and Tobago was Marvin Phillip in goal. Isaiah Garcia, went out there and made Mr. Arston look pretty good, I think. Alvin Jones, Sheldon Bateau, JJ Garcia, and Tyrese Spicer across that back five. Johnny Fortune, Noah Powder, Daniel Phillips in the band of three, and then Kevin Molino, my favorite Minnesota United player of all time, and Isaiah Lee up front. I should mention Alvin Jones. He's the guy who hit the thunderbolt that disqualified us from the World Cup. He had a horrible game, which I'm always a little bit happy to see because of that that thunderbolt. But man, his career, this is totally a tangent, but his career since that goal, which, was so profoundly important for U.S. men's national team fans, has not really gone that far. He played for Forward Madison for a little while. Right now he plays for a club called Real Sociedad. Not the one in Spain. This is the one in Honduras. And then before that, he played for a club called Police FC, which is in Trinidad and is literally has police officers on the team, which is crazy. So just a little aside on USMNT killer Alvin Jones. All right, to the timeline. We're knocking it around early in TNT's half, looking good. I mean, right from the jump, we know we're gonna dominate this game, and we get our first big chance. Tillman, so De La Torre's got the ball in the middle, and he plays it kind of like somewhat laterally, a little bit forward to Tillman, who has his back to goal. And Tillman spots over his left shoulder that Agyemang has a little room to make a run. And he does this just slick little Cruyff pass, eliminates the defender that's closing on him and the defender that is on Agyemang. Agyemang runs onto it, takes a touch, and then scuffs it with his left foot just wide. He probably was offside too, but this is nasty from Malik and a good sort of warning shot for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so this is so first of all, the way TNT set up, they are in a mid block in their 5-3-2 confrontation line, right about the midway line, maybe a little bit above it in our half or their half. But I would say this is a mistake. Just off the rip, just because it just gives us too much space to work with, right? The lines aren't as compact as they would be if they were in a true low block, and so because of that, we're able to do a lot of things to their shape that lead to us pulling them apart. Like that midfield line, that midfield band of three, we were able to pull them side to side quite often, and it just opens up opens up space on the backside where there's two of the midfielders get sucked over. Now there's just one, and we usually have an overload with like either 1v2 in the middle in the central area, 1v3. Anyway, so this chance is actually Malik and Pat playing off the back line, playing off TNT's back line, but we had sucked TNT over to the right side before we got it going. And I do want to shout out the fact that Pat isn't caught wrong-footed by the Malik Cruyff pass here. I do want to give him some credit for that. I think he understands as the ball's coming to Malik that maybe he sees that Malik's gonna play him in here. He's not caught wrong-footed. Receives the ball, keeps the dude on his right shoulder, and gets the shot off. But yeah, so I do. We're probably gonna come down on Pat kind of hard in this match, but I do want to shout out the recognition that the play was on, and also, I mean, the big boy stuff is just baked in.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, not every striker, or I wouldn't have even necessarily expected Pat to read this the way Malik did it. And the second midfielders over to the right side, I feel like that's one thing that Jack McGlynn is really helpful with, because I imagine we'll come down on him a little bit in this episode. He's not going to beat anybody with his foot speed. Obviously, he has a hard time. I mean, he has a hard time running fast at all. But his ability to like see passes and receive cleanly and get rid of it quickly does allow us. I mean, there was a lot of times where we could work things through his feet, even though he can't, take the ball and go at people. A good example comes in at the 6 minute mark. Good work up the right from him and Tillman. He shifts onto his left foot. I mean, could have played a right-footed cross. That's a foreshadowing. Shifts onto his left, plays a pretty hopeful cross. It gets knocked to the top of the box, and Sebastian Berhalter meets it firmly, fires on frame. It's blocked, but this is a good take from him on a difficult, like the ball's at a difficult height. He meets it in the air. Yeah.
Not bad. And so this is the first look at our defensive shape. We're in the regular 4-4-2. It's like the first time Trinidad has the ball for any amount of time. Alex Freeman wins it back along the right touch line from Trinidad, and that basically starts the move. This whole move goes up. It continues up the right touch line.
Okay.
Jack into Malik. Malik landed back off to Jack. But I guess I'll just note here, it's just like not even 10 minutes into the match, right? Malik is just he's just unbothered by anything that TNT is going to throw his way in this match. You can tell it early. He's feeling it, and that begets goals eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's skip ahead a little bit. So we get a nice big chance at the 11-minute mark. Arston squares up Mr. Garcia and just does him. He kind of steps over to his right, pushes it to his left, and then plays a cross, kind of a slightly looping cross onto Pat Ajimong's head. And he meets it well, just flashes it a foot wide of the far post. So that's good from Arston. And I mean, I'm going to say pretty good from Ajimong too. Just, doesn't go in. Ball don't go in. And yeah, at this point you're feeling like, man, this is a different sport than we witnessed on Tuesday. This is not in the same category.
Arf showing a little juice.
A little juice, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta admit it. What's your take on Arf, Charles? I'm curious. What's your measured opinion?
He's tough to evaluate, and I think he himself is in an inherently tough position right now with the national team, because that guy's a wingback. I mean, that was a converted, if I'm remembering right, converted striker. He is an attack-minded wingback with Columbus, and he comes here and he's like, "You're playing left back, buddy. You're on the corner," and that did not go well. I thought against Switzerland, I thought that was really bad in some moments. Like, ooh, like what is this going to do to his future kind of looks there. And then, as you said, the difference in level is evident. He's just had more freedom, but maybe, and I thought we'd see Tolkien for this one, just because I assume, perhaps incorrectly, that there's some competition there, because Tolkien was pretty good for a Bundesliga team, over the past year, and I think there's a lot for Poch to like there if his gaze focuses on that for a while. But Arfston has got his confidence. Arfston has got his confidence, and I think he's going to let him run. So I like him as a player, but I still think I still categorize him as a late bloomer because of how and when he's gotten here.
Yeah, well, he's 24.
Well, the thing is, you talking about it just then made me think, well, maybe Pochettino's being completely rational and sensible about this. He's saying against Trinidad and Tobago, we don't need Arfston to play. We don't need our left back to play a bunch of really good defense. So let's put him out there and create some chances. And then maybe we'll see Tolkien against Saudi Arabia, which will be presumably a somewhat more difficult contest. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, John does not have the Arf juice. Yeah, he can't do the flicks and tricks that Max Arfston can when he's feeling it, when he's putting Garcia on toast in this match. You know what I'm saying? So it's whether it scales or whatnot, that's the question, of course. But as far as a base, what attributes do you possess type package? John don't got that the ability to dribble that Max has.
Well,
he pings though. I mean, he puts. I think his service is some of the best, especially for a left footer. But maybe Poch is like, yo, I got my lefty, bomb dropper here with McGlynn. I'm gonna let McGlynn cook on the set pieces and corners and the kind of stuff that Tolkien can do in addition to being a very capable left back.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that those of us who stayed past the 65th minute of the game on Tuesday saw him both receive a long diagonal, and with one touch, hop it over the defender. So he just this was nasty. I thought in a game that was really, really frustrating and sad to watch. He not only took this long diagonal, and his first touch took it over the defender, and he was past him, and then literally right over the defender. And then the other thing he did was he tried to rainbow a guy with a little scoop touch. You know what I'm talking about, Charles? I mean, I know you probably watched this part of the game.
I was watching, but I'm blanking on that moment. Okay. I got to go back.
He gets tackled. He thought he got fouled. He was down in the end, so he's on the end line. He tries to scoop it over the guy. I mean, this is the definition of juice. And to me, it looked like he got fouled. The ref didn't call it. He rolled around on the floor for a while, and then so there's a little bit. So there's I'm saying John's got a little bit of juice.
For those who
I co-sign that.
For those who aren't on Twitter and don't know and haven't been a part of me and Bel's private text messages, that don't know what we're talking about. I left the Switzerland match right around the 55th, 58th minute, something like that. So for the Patreon listeners looking for the Switzerland clip notes, I haven't got them done. So I have not seen those minutes at all, bro. I have no clue what you're talking about. I missed the entire Tolkien show, unfortunately.
Well, the key thing is you put a picture of you and two of your friends at the stadium, and you said, if I get 250 likes, we're leaving at halftime. And you got 5,000 likes in 2 hours?
Yeah, the 250 was locked up by halftime for sure. We did not leave at half. I felt kind of bad, but it was like, man,
it was nasty.
We're getting busted. I got a nice little drive home. Let me just go ahead and get this going.
Emotional facet to that. Yeah,
I did do it. I haven't left a national team match early ever. I probably won't do it again. But yeah,
you got to think of the company too. Right?
They were checked out.
Yeah.
My boys are checked
They
out.
didn't even look like they were excited about the picture that you were taking. All right, here we go.
They're about to move. Yeah.
All right. So first goal comes in the 16th minute. It's a real hot back pass to Alvin Jones, and his first touch is atrocious. It bounces up on him like well over his head, and Big Pat pounces, wins it, knocks Jones down kind of, and then plays it to Jack McGlynn going into the box, room to shoot with his right foot. He just does not trust his right foot like that. And so he shifts onto his left. You're like, oh no, this situation is, this chance is drying up before our eyes. But no, he plays like a pretty nice clipped ball to Malik at the back post. A delightful first touch from Malik to kill this in the air, again at a kind of a difficult height. And then he rifles it home near post. 1-0 USA. Malik Tillman's on the score sheet. Like I said at the beginning, for the first time in a U.S. shirt, which I think is really important. That's what I got there. 1-0. Should I continue?
I just want to say great job for Pat. I was actually just reading the Discord a little bit a few minutes ago, and somebody was saying we should give Pat credit for A, closing Alvin Jones down, winning the ball, and B, the pass to McGlynn, which I feel like it's pretty straightforward pass that you should complete, but he completed it, baby. So, yeah.
That's right. I mean, so it's just, after this, it's just kind of chance after chance. 18th minute, a great sequence from Luka and Malik. Actually, it starts on the right side. McGlynn passes it over to Luka. He taps it to Malik, like vertically ahead of him. Malik then 1-2s with him, and then Luka taps it out to Max on the left side. He cuts in and has a good shot with his right foot. Good save by the keeper down to his left.
Yeah, just another example. As Belz said, sucking their midfield over to the right side. Two of the midfielders are over there with us. Jack McGlynn, Diego Luna, having a good time over there. And then once we type it over to Luka, it's on. And they did just a masterful job taking advantage of that 2v1. Luka first time to Malik. Malik turns back to Luka. It was nice stuff. And just enjoying watching Luka when Luka's in the flow state. He's one of our more aesthetically pleasing players in the pool, I would say, for sure.
I hope we talk more about him, maybe not now, but later, because I think he's starting to become, dare I say, essential because of how he reflects the qualities of others around him. Magnifies.
Well, let's talk about that right now. Let's talk about it right now.
I think that's always been his superpower, and it's something that when you hear that, like even Pulisic the other day, I think it was in the Call It What You Want interview, and they're asking him, "Is there anybody that you are enjoying watching, or who's caught your eye with the national team right now?" And he immediately started talking about that the GG, if we want to call it that, right? The crop of dudes that came up more or less together, him and Tyler Adams, and he mentioned Luka, and I think he's like, he just stays around, and now that he's playing regularly, he is locked in, like foundational piece for San Diego FC. Maybe this is a better moment for him to just be that much more fluid as a naturally fluid player by nature. But he just does everything well, really high floor, basic actions and technique, and creates a platform for the players around him and to the sides of him to go be their best selves with the way he passes the ball, the way he reads the game, the way he handles stuff. Behind him, Poch talked about how he had freedom to go, whereas they asked Berhalter to sit in more and be more of the six. And I thought that really suited LDLT. And I just have a feeling that he's just like sort of in the run up to 22, he just kind of pressed his way in and showed that he had characteristics that are not common in the pool.
Yeah, I think of how dominant's not the right word, but how effective he was in that win over Panama in World Cup qualifying, if I remember correctly. The 5-1 win. he was doing all the stuff you're saying about making the people around him better, setting a high floor. He's still ball secure for the most part. Lots of little start stops. I noticed that he's been doing that a lot lately, sort of like turning one way and then turning the other way, with his back to the defender. He loves doing that. It's attacking drills out there. McGlynn, 25th minute, picks out Luna from the sideline. This is just vintage McGlynn. An absolute dime, 40 yards on to Luna's left foot from the sideline to the other side of the box. And Luna's first touch is a little bit heavy. It's heavy. It's a heavy first touch, and that gives the keeper time to come out, and he can't lift it over him. It's saved, but should have been 2-0.
Yeah, I think Stu Holden said this was a good touch, but for this situation, no, not necessarily. Like he needed to kill it in the way Malik did for the goal, right? And he kind of put it out in front of him, gave the keeper an opportunity to get to the ball, but just absolute sick ball from Jack McGlynn, right? I mean, the ball is crazy. It's a rope from the right touch line all the way to the left vertical line of the box, and also just want to I talked about Luna and Malik finding space. And this is just like Diego Luna playing off the shoulder of the left. I don't know. Is it the left, right center? Is it the left? It might be the left center back, or they're like left wing back. But either way, whichever one it is, it's just he just finds ways to make plays, right? With this movement, he's always popping up in positions to make things happen. Whether they happen or not, that's another question. As it stands currently, I think I would like to see just a little bit more from him.
A little bit more clinical would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Not just this play. It's not just this one play.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just making stuff happen. Like he's everywhere, as we illustrated in the Turkey match, and just here as well. Runs him behind. He's over on the right side helping pull the Trini midfield apart. He's in the end everywhere.
He just thirsts to combine. Like I love watching him just sort of drift around, and he just like wants to build these relationships. There's like this tiki-taka strain in him where he's just like, let's go, pass and move, whoever's in his vicinity.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something that when I think about it, I'm not sure. I think Tim Weah did a pretty good job of it. In the last cycle, as one of the half space merchants under Greg, but I don't think we got enough fluidity out of our front five, right? Under Greg, and that's one of the big changes we've seen with Poch is just the fact that these guys can pop up anywhere, and it's like it shouldn't be. The whole reason we set up this way is to give the front five the freedom to do this. Right, it's like you got your defenders ready to counter press, to take care of transitions and all that. The front five should have this freedom to move and find space and make plays, and I'm happy to see us doing it.
Mm-hmm. You feeling like there wasn't that freedom under Berhalter? It was more.
Like I said, we saw Tim Weah do it. I'm thinking back to that Columbus, Costa Rica match where. That transition before the surge goal, where Tim Weah is actually on the left and plays the switch over to Eunice before he taps it to Surge. The Jamaica goal that Tim Weah scored, where he's on the left, combines with Pepe, gets it back, all that stuff. So we did see a little bit of freedom amongst our front five, but I think. Maybe it's just an IQ thing. I don't know. I don't want to cast aspersions onto people, but I do think we didn't see that type of fluidity as much from
I think I agree
before. Yeah, whether it's down to personnel, coaching, somebody smarter can let me know, man.
Okay. Let's see. There's the Richards header on a Berhalter corner in the 29th minute. Big Pat does well to hold up a good pass from Tillman in the 30th minute. Kind of a clipped ball down the right channel. He runs it down, comes back up with it, plays it back, taps it back to McGlynn, who has a shot just wide of the near post. Pretty good. I think a pretty good attempt. Like generally speaking, I think it's good when McGlynn has the ball on the right side of the box and he's cutting in on that left foot. Good stuff from Freeman and McGlynn in the 33rd. Freeman cuts it back for Berhalter and he meets it first time. Really good contact, just blocked.
Yeah. This one is kind of where we get into Trinidad being pretty bad here. Their left wing back just cannot be bothered here to track Alex Freeman's run. It's like a pass from Chris Richards out to Jack McGlynn on the right touchline. And Alex Freeman follows it. It almost looks like he passes it to Jack, like he collects it and passes it, but he doesn't touch it at all. He lets it run. It runs through to Jack, and he just continues his run down the sideline. And one of their front two of the 5-3-2, they come out to apply pressure to Jack, which in theory frees up the Trini left wing back to follow Alex Freeman, and he's just like, nah, I'm not doing that today. It's hot out here in San Jose. But good job from Alex Freeman to pick somebody out, to actually pick out someone and deliver the ball to them instead of just putting it in the mixer. Right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because there was a couple times where Arfston just kind of rifled it at the top of the six, and in this type of game, I'm like, man, we could get a little better here. And Freeman provided it here. It's crazy these guys weren't working hard with national legend Dwight Yorke as the coach. It's like, what is going on?
I'm not saying that they weren't working hard. In the majority,
I'm saying they weren't. I mean, I saw some stuff in the second half, like some subs who came on, like on that Brendo goal. What's his name? Number 17, Rio Solomon Car something. Man, he was like, it was just sub pantomime defending from him.
We had taken their heart by that point.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Belz, you just made me realize Rio Solomon Cardenas is 18 and he plays for Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
I had completely missed this detail. I will freely admit. Wow.
They're U21s though, right? He didn't play any.
He's. I don't think he's got first team minutes. But that's side note here. But like, on paper, Jamaica, Trinidad, many of the Caribbean nations that have huge diasporas, especially in England, you would think, hey, why can't you be more competitive? But that's a super hard job. It's like integrating your domestic based squad and the guys who are from the diaspora. Don't sleep on the complicated nature of that, as we've seen with Jamaica as well in particular.
Yeah. Well, okay. So 34th minute, Justin Garcia comes through the back of Freeman. This is after like Luna heads it down for Freeman off of like one of those little clipped balls from McGlynn from the sideline to the channel. Yep. And dude, he scissors through the back of both of his legs. Absolutely ridiculous challenge. Sees yellow. And apparently the VAR took a look at it and they said, yep, that's a yellow card. Couldn't be me. I mean, that's a red card for me all day. I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because that just make their game even more silly.
For sure.
But
yeah, I was actively hoping for this not to be a red card. Once I saw Alex, are you hurt, Alex Freeman? Okay, you're not. All right, let's go ahead and throw this yellow out, man. We don't need. But yeah, this is when I saw this play, I started thinking about just a point I make a lot, just as far as like the difference between like confederations and the difference between like soccer in general, based on like the rules you're playing by, who's reffing the match, what are your customs, what's the surface like, et cetera, et cetera. But so basically making excuses for us in Concacaf. That's what I'm doing. But anyway, I saw this play and it's just like, man, in UEFA, like this isn't even a question. You pull this in the Euros or something, like, bro, you are
Yeah.
out of here.
You're done.
You might be banned for another 2 games on top of it too.
It got arguably overall. I thought it was even nastier after halftime when Yorke clearly told them, get stuck in and leave a mark on these dudes if it's gonna, you know what I mean, if you're not gonna win. Because there was like little afters, like stomping on the toes after the ball had been released. Like Arfson was crumpled like right in front of the fourth official along the touchline early in the second half. Just like, I mean, just dudes dropping everywhere. So maybe that's what the US needed. These new dudes are like, this is how it's going to be in these situations.
Well, that was maybe my biggest Malik takeaway from the game is that, he nutmegged somebody much later in the game, late in the middle of the second half, and then gets just blown up by Dante Seeley, the FC Dallas product. I mean, like, it's like an open field. Yeah, it's like an open field free safety hitting the exposed wide receiver. And he was down for a while. I was like, dang, he might be hurt. This is gonna be.
Yeah, I was thinking like collarbone.
Yeah, or like a broken cuff or something. Yeah.
What did he do to him? Yeah.
And the really, well, it's encouraging that he turned out he was okay. But the really encouraging thing is that he came back and dealt out a little punishment himself later in the game. He like, not punishment, but he got in 2 really strong shoulder to shoulders that I clocked after that happened, which to me is like, okay, Malik he's blooded now in competitive Concacaf matches, which is important, I think. So we haven't got to the second goal yet. Let's get going here. Slightly messy from Richards in the 37th. I thought Richards and Ream trying to deal with a bit of a counterattack. It turns out okay, but like there's a little bit of Keystone Cops going on when Ream like knocks it away from the defender, and then Richards tries to clear it, but it goes right off the defender and loops up into our box. I kind of would like Freese to come out. And Freese had a good game, I think, but kind of would like him to come out and claim this initially. He does not. Ream has to come back and like kind of weakly head it away, and then it comes back, it like loops back in. Yeah. There's next thing I'm going to say is our goal, 41st minute. It's a gift. It's a gift from TNT, really. I mean, no, Pulisic probably doesn't jump this back pass route the way Luna did, but like nobody at the World Cup next summer is going to make a pass like this. This is Alvin Jones again. He, I don't know, he didn't look up for a couple of seconds or something. Didn't see that Luna was there, but he basically passed it right in the back of Luna's legs.
Luna saw this before he did. Luna was reading his mind.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked up and saw him at one point too. I was like, because like you said, like he got going on this early. Diego did, and I thought Alvin kind of looked up and saw him at first, and then he made the pass, and I was like, oh well, I guess not.
Yeah. It hits the back of his legs. He gathers it and dribbles into the box from the left side, rolls it across for Tillman. I mean, if Tillman doesn't get to it, probably McGlynn does next. But Tillman thumps it in, leaps over the goalkeeper, and it's 2-0.
There were some people asking, would Gio Reyna make this run, the same exact run that Malik made? He was busting it. He was busting it to get
the
there.
The answer is no. Gio Reyna would not make that run. Gio would show to the penalty marker in this situation. That's my prediction.
I think it was only 3 touches by Luna, if I'm remembering right, not including the one that was smashed into his legs, if I'm remembering right. But like I love when you see that clarity.
Yeah,
like done this in training. Bing bong.
Yeah, good point. So, and then we get the third goal, long diagonal from Tillman to Luna. A beautiful pass, not quite as gorgeous as the McGlynn one, but this is nice. And Luna cuts in and shoots, I would say, somewhat weakly. Goalkeeper's dive into his left, and it deflects off of Ajimang and through the defender's legs in at the near post. Completely wrong foots the keeper. So Luna's lucky to get the assist. Ajimang's lucky to get the goal. 3-0.
Yep. Big Pat might be the Zardes that was promised, man. I was looking back at this goal. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, hold on. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. And hey, we might Jicey Zardes regen.
Yeah.
We need to see some face goals first.
Yeah.
Clearance gets pounded off his face.
Jicey was
to the goal. Then you'll know.
Bro, that's one of the funnier soccer players that I've seen in my time.
Legend.
Just insane goals that he would score, and the ones that he would not score. And then I'll never forget the best finish of his life, that own goal at Panama during qualifying. It was like then he decided to pull it out. Like, yeah, I can finish.
Incredible.
Where's Jazzy playing now? Is he?
Ooh, I don't know if he is.
He might be retired.
I know it was Austin FC.
It wasn't a lot of fanfare if he retired.
Is he still at Austin?
No, because
he's a free agent.
They didn't take up his option.
Yeah.
Oh no, they bought him out. They bought him out in December. So I don't know. I haven't seen any sign of him. But he's only 33.
He's not that old.
He can go again if he wants.
Come on down to Louisville City, Jicey.
Yeah.
There you go.
We need you, baby.
Police FC in Trinidad.
Hey, look, Greg Berhalter does not become USMNT coach if not for Jazzy Zardes. I feel confident in that.
You mean because his form at the Crew?
His striker whisperer reputation was sealed by Jazzy Zardes' resurrection.
Bro,
think about the domino meme, you know? Think about all those dominoes.
That's a funny thing to think about. Greg Berhalter, striker whisperer. You know, he looked back on it. It's like, well,
yeah, it didn't quite work out that way with the US, but
no.
Shout out to Greg, man.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to Greg. I feel like there's a lot of people not really adjusting their priors on Greg through all this silliness, through all this like heartache we're going through right now.
Now, I'm even seeing people taking screenshots of the foot mob from this match where everybody's green except Sebastian.
Oh no! Yeah, well.
and they're like, that name continues to haunt us. Except, you know, whatever. It's an easy way to get 2K likes or whatever the hell.
Yeah. But, it's nasty work, man.
We're behind y'all.
Dumb as hell. That's the half. If you want to join the Patreon and skip the ads, the link is in the show notes, and I would encourage you to do so.
And get the clip notes. I got the clip notes this time. Okay, and I'm gonna still do the Switzerland ones too, just because I feel like they are nice time capsules to have of matches.
Yeah.
To where you don't even gotta rewatch the whole thing. You can just pull up the clip notes, watch 20 minutes or whatever. But so, the clip notes for this match should be out when this podcast is out, for sure. I just got to do a little bit of editing. All clips have been taken and are in iMovie, ready to go. So
nice. $5 patrons get the clip notes. And Vince does them for the Monday reviews too. When when the European club season is in full swing, we are to some extent guilty of being Euro snobs. Sorry, everybody. And we'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. 46-minute. You got something in here, Vince?
Oh yeah. So it's Big Pat. He checks to the ball and runs it behind Trinidad. Makes an in-to-out run down the left channel. His marker that was following him falls. Tim Ream plays him a nice left-footed ball that sends him down the left channel. Pat picks it up and plays a left-footed ball across the box intended for Malik, who's on rushing once again, but it's overcooked. It goes all the way through the box to Jack McGlynn, who plays a square ball across the box for Max Arston, who takes a first-time right-footed shot right at the keeper.
Oh, I think it's a little unfair. A little unfair to Max Arston on the. It wasn't right at the keeper, right?
Oh yeah, sure. You had to make a diving stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the keeper had to make a diving stop. It was on the ground. You know what? I shouldn't have said right at the keeper. You're right.
I'm like famous Max Arfston defender, Adam Belz.
I didn't think about how it would come off if I was saying right, but yes, it was saved to the keeper's left, dive and stop.
Pretty good chance.
Decent attempt from Max.
Yeah. There's shortly after this, there's that McGlynn side volley attempt on another sort of similar scramble in the box, a ball that goes all the way through. I forget who played it, but man, you see the angle from behind the post. Man, this was so close to being just a sick goal. Jack McGlynn, he's fun to watch. You gotta admit, even if you do have to talk about how
no doubt about
immobile he is. Yeah.
I think this chance came from some ARF sauce. I want to say. I think maybe even the ball came from Jack. I mean, from Max Million.
Okay. Yeah. And it bounces, and then McGlynn takes it on his chest, and then swivel volley. Pretty nice.
All right. 51st minute. Another in-to-out run from Big Pat is found. This time by Luca Della Torre, who curls a left-footed ball into the channel. Pat collects and carries into the box under some pressure from number 4, Bateau. He has it on his left foot as he's carrying it in. He chops it back onto his right foot kind of heavily. It takes him all the way, like his chop takes him all the way to the top of the box, which draws the attention of a on-rushing Garcia who was making his way back into the box, to get numbers in the box to help defend. Okay, so Pat holds off Garcia with his right shoulder. He puts it back on his left foot now. Takes a strong left-footed shot that is saved out for a corner.
Yeah, this is what one of the things Pat gives you. Him just shouldering people to the ground left and right as he gathers the ball in the box, and then is able to get off a really good shot. I mean, even on the save, it almost went in at the back post.
Yeah, and the keeper was down for like 3 minutes. His hands hurt or something. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, even while he's, of course, kind of chasing around his touch a little bit, like the chop took him way further than it intended. He's able to get some stuff done. He's able to get.
And I want to. So the context for me here is that at this point, the Soca Warriors are flying around. They're like, we're gonna leave some bruises on you dudes, and they are trying to do this to him and bouncing off. So the bull in the China shop vibes are. He's got better feet than a typical bull that we'll continue to debate, I'm sure, collectively, whether his feet are good enough to be a starting number 9 at the World Cup. Bull in a China shop. But you see the vision.
Okay, next thing is the U.S. giving up a big chance. Some blame to go around, I think, and also some credit to be given. Freeman gets eliminated on a long diagonal, so this is a pretty kind of cinematic defensive error. It happens to Chris Richards later in the game too. So, and Richards runs over to put out the fire, but he can't get there first. And it's flashed across the goal mouth. Dante Seeley is arriving on the goal line for the ball. It's a certain goal. And Matt Freese just gets a little bit of a paw to it and pushes it behind Seeley as he slides into the goal, which is a goal-saving action from him. So Freese didn't have a lot to do in this game, but when he did have to do something, he did it. So.
You needed 2 or 3 replays to catch what he did. It was the reflexes were very impressive, I thought.
So, do you think, Charlie, he's the guy now for Poch?
Did you? I don't. He spoke. He was asked about. I think actually Sanjay asked him about the goalkeeping situation in Spanish. And I won't claim to be able to translate it. I didn't transcribe it word for word, but basically he said, we trust Matt Turner. We know what he can do. We know he can take the pressure of a World Cup, but he had a hard year and he didn't play. And he is a little blunter in Spanish sometimes. And that he sees Freese as someone with potential. And this is they don't know if they're going to get a chance to give him a run like this in a tournament. He's sort of, it sounded like a significant hint that he's going to platoon or may platoon his keepers. And why would you not? Right. So, anytime you take, because Turner was in goal against Switzerland, right? Yeah. And so takes 4, does not look good doing it, is culpable directly for one of them. It's the time and place to do it. And I thought it was, considering, so this is Freese is new, but he's not, right? So this is a guy who was in the youth national team system extensively growing up, and then took a long time to find a spot at the professional level. So I think he's maybe a little less green than his numbers would indicate. And I was impressed today or yesterday.
Yeah, same. Greg thought that Turner's error against Switzerland is the kind of error that loses your spot for a while. Greg, I'm talking about Greg Velasquez, which really kind of stuck out to me because Greg doesn't just like throw stuff around willy nilly. And then I got to say something about Sanjay asking questions in Spanish because I was making fun of him. I was making fun of him for it at the press conference. I was like, bro, you don't need to show off your Duolingo. You don't need to flex your Duolingo muscles in front of all of us. You have an English language audience, and guess who rushed to his defense? Michael Cameraman. He said, man, I appreciate it because it gives Poch a break. It lets Poch relax a little bit. And
he does speak more expansively.
I was chastised. For my crass. My crassness.
Xenophobia. Just kidding.
I know.
Man, I can't wait till next time I see Cameraman, man. We're gonna have a good time talking about some Adam Belz, man.
He didn't even know who I was this time. He was like, "Oh, I didn't recognize you. You're tan." I was like, "Okay, yeah." He might, listen to you talk about me a little bit. I don't know that he's gonna have that much to say.
That's my guess.
TNT's getting some chances here and there. US not looking great through 20 in the second half. A big jailbreak from the US in the 65th minute. Ajimang stepping into their half with the ball. I kind of forget how we won it here. Just some sort of garden variety winning the ball in the midfield. But, Ajimang's not the guy you want field marshaling a counterattack necessarily. He eventually finds Arfston over on the side. He taps it up to Tillman. Slick little outside of the boot pass to Ajimang, who is now back to goal between the 6 and the penalty marker. And, I say here he can't get a clean shot off. He kind of almost did going to his left. Maybe could have fed it over to McGlynn to his to the other side, but
the shot he ended up getting off was he turned and shot it straight, but he was outside of the goal mouth. Now, the initial jailbreak when he has the ball, I mean, he has 3 options to play. He could have played, I think, Luna in if he wanted to with a ball that wouldn't have took that much couth to play it in. But it was just he just hadn't seen this before. We talk about last time I was doing the review, right, when we talked about Jack McGlynn and the fact that he saw we were breaking down his decision tree, right? And it's he's seeing the same picture that he just scored the goal, so he just figured, hey, I'm gonna go try to score that goal again. You could tell when Pat turned around and saw what was going on here, he was just decision overload, man. It was too much stuff going on. His brain just kind of frazzled.
And he did kind of try to go for the same shot that he had just punished Philip with a few minutes earlier, the one that made him kept him down for a couple of minutes.
My hope would be that whether it's with the national team or more likely maybe with Dean Smith or whoever, that someone who is in a position to coach Big Pat cues that up and says, you want to be scoring tap-ins. You're not trying to play the defense splitting ball in that moment. Get it off your feet, because the sooner you get it off your feet, the sooner you're going to get in the box and get a tap in. Go get a tap in, dude.
You're talking about right at the beginning of the sequence.
Yeah.
When he has it. Yeah. Okay.
Play the simplest pass. Yeah. I think he had a very simple option close to him that would advance the move and get on your horse.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him just spend the next 12 months just doing really, really tight rondos. That's it. Just put Pat in a rondo, make him solve problems with his feet in tight space over and over and over again. Because he's not gonna turn into Iniesta, in the next 12 months. But you can get better at this stuff, right?
He has in a lot of areas.
Has he?
And hey, I spoke with Zoran Chernetta, Charlotte's GM, about Big Pat for a piece I wrote recently about him, and they turned down $5 million for him over the winter. They say they don't want to sell. He's saying all the GM stuff, like there's championship clubs that want him, and somebody go sprinkle some pounds over there in North Carolina, because they'll take the big money. They'll take the money that meets their evaluation, and he might well find himself in an environment like that as early as this fall, maybe.
Okay. I mean, maybe Poch is just playing 4D chess here, Big Pat going to be scoring 25 goals in the championship next year. I do have to say, Luna, I saw a lot of people were really high on Luna's performance. I thought he mixed in a fair amount of kind of silly stuff in this game. A couple passes to TNT feet, that failed back heel over in the corner. He has that instinct to combine for sure. I just maybe would like to be a little cleaner, especially in a game like this.
Not in your defensive third.
Yeah, right. This is when Tillman gets blasted after nutmegging somebody in the 68th minute. And I was, so it's great to see that he recovered both physically and mentally from this.
Yeah. I was laughing at this just because it reminded me of in college when we'd be watching film or whatever day after a game, and one of my boys would get smacked, and and it's just funny. It's something that sticks with you for the rest of your life. Even to this, Belz, Dakota, one of my friends that I brought to the match in Nashville. To this day, in the group chat, we'll be like, "Hey, Dakota, remember when old dude lit you up?" and we couldn't turn on the lights in the room for an entire week because you were concussed.
Ooh, how,
bro? I know it's kind of macabre and dark a little bit, but that's what football forces you to do, man. You gotta find humor from these moments when your boy is so concussed he comes over to the bench and starts throwing his helmet and whatnot. It's all is fair in love and war, baby, and
yeah,
it's war out there on a football field. But yeah, Malik got jacked up, and it just brought back those memories for me. That's all.
I got to shout out my friend Reed Forgrave, reporter at the Minnesota Star Tribune, who wrote a book called Love Zach about, this is, speaking of macabre, about a kid in Iowa who committed suicide after high school, having played only through 10th grade. And he was just one of those linebackers who just loved to hit people. And, pretty clearly had CTE by the time he was in his mid-20s. And it's a great story. It was originally a story in GQ, and then it became a book.
Yep.
And that's what made me think of no lights for a week. Jeez, man.
Bro, could not turn the lights on in the room. We couldn't turn them on, man. It's in the dark.
That is incredible.
We were in the dark for a week. Anyway.
I used to love football, man. I really did. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway. Y'all know I played in high school. I played high school, middle school. I played from 10 to 18, growing up in Texas. Yeah.
What position?
I survived because I went to a small Catholic school. So we were playing both offense and defense, but I was a tight end or H-back on offense, and then I was usually an outside linebacker in defense. So I got lit up just enough to develop a proper appreciation for the inherent violence of our country's favorite sport.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't appreciate it enough. But anyway, we'll keep moving. 77th minute, Chris Richards cooked a little bit by number 9 substitute Nathaniel James with a little spin chop right at the left corner of the box. Mark comes over to help and deflects the left-footed shot that James takes out for a corner. Chris was beaten pretty soundly here.
Yeah, a little slow-footed on the little battleshipy.
He stuck his foot in right when bro was chopping, and he didn't get it. Left for dead.
Yep, it's worth noting. And then Aronson gets his goal. This is where I think he cuts in on Bateau. I believe it's Bateau, but this is where Rio Solomon Cardenas, the Crystal Palace U21, just kind of, I mean, he doesn't even pretend to try to help out with Aronson here. And then the shot is, he hits it, I think, pretty firmly right between the guy's arm, the goalkeeper's arm, and his rib cage. But if, one of our goalkeepers let in a goal like this, we'd all be furious. And
for sure.
It's a ridiculous shot to let in. This is where Malik is out here shouldering people off the ball. He does it once in our own half and then once like in the middle of the field. So I was happy to see that, like I just explained earlier. Richards gets cooked again on a long ball to number 9, Nathaniel James. Just doesn't judge the flight of the ball well. That first touch from James is excellent. This time he gets a rip off and just kind of bounces off of Freese. But it's a good hit. It's a good solid scoring chance. So Richards maybe got to tighten it up a little bit. And then 83rd minute, Haji scores. He had come on. He also cuts in on Bateau, and Bateau just like don't even care. And passes it into the side netting far post. 5-0 USA. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the timeline. You got a Dwight Yorke quote, Mr. Boehm. Can we?
Yeah, y'all want that one?
Yeah, I do.
Well, we knew coming into the game, although a lot of hype around the American team in terms of the results hasn't been particularly going their way. We were not under any delusion that the fact that this game was going to arguably be the toughest game in the group stage. We prepared thoroughly, trying to maintain and frustrate the Americans as long as possible. And obviously, when you concede it 16 minutes, I felt that once we conceded, the game had settled down a bit, and we would have been able to hold off America until halftime because you need to make some changes. But he later conceded. Today, we wasn't at the races, and it gives us an indication of the gap at the international level to where some of my players are playing at the moment.
We wasn't at the races. I like that.
Hey, man, he looked good on the first one, by the way.
He did look good. I agree.
The brand is strong. The brand is still strong. But if you watched any of the Saudi-Haiti game after the U.S., I think you can see the U.S. should be aiming to take full points here, but these are going to be much, much tougher outs. Haiti is everything that TNT should be, or could be, maybe. I thought had the better of the play, very aggressive. They'll ask some questions of this U.S. group as it stands now, and then the Saudis, I think, are going to be tough to break down.
I didn't watch the match, but I was following along a little bit, and at one point, Haiti was losing 1-0, but they had only given up one shot, and that was like a penalty to Saudi Arabia.
It was ludicrous challenge in the box, dumb challenge. But they had Saudis in hell for long stretches. I mean, just some of the size and strength of the guys that they have in that attack. Still wobbly at the back, but there's some athletes and I think it's going to be. I'm not even sure the U.S. who almost always have the athletic advantage in almost any game. I'm not sure they're going to have that in that game. That's the third game.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. Again, Saudi Arabia game is 9:15 Eastern time, Thursday night. We should mention there's a picture going around. Maybe it's on the Discord, maybe it's on Twitter. Hard to keep track of Johnny Cardoso and Tyler Adams and Damian Downs.
Yep.
Sitting at a table behind Matt Crocker. Matt Crocker wearing a white T-shirt, all tatted up, and so that just makes me think. Anything you want to see in the lineup, you guys, for Thursday? Should we go? Are we going back to John? We going back to Johnny? Is Tyler going to be healthy?
I don't think we see Tyler until knockout. At this point, there's no reason for him to play until the knockout rounds. I mean, y'all heard the record that Charlie laid out for y'all. I mean, the probability of us losing or drawing, even if Tyler Adams does not play, is extremely low.
41, 1 and 5.
Yeah, so it's like we got, let's say about 80 something, high 80s, 86, 87% chance of winning. Don't quote me on the math, but I'm pretty close. But yeah, I don't think we need to see Tyler. I don't think we need to see Tyler, man. Johnny, yes, we need to see Johnny. If only just so he can exercise his demons. You know, you got to do it at some point. If you can't do it in the Gold Cup group stage, then
yeah,
yes, we got some questions.
I think, and I think on the De La Torre topic, I think I want to see like how can he do for Johnny what he did for Berhalter and that band of three? Can he do this for everybody on the team? Just like be that good waiter that you don't notice. It's just doing excellent at their job. So I think you'd want to see some rotation to give opportunities and rest some legs, but maybe the rotation thing bit him a little too hard against Switzerland. So maybe we'll see, it's Ream and Richards from here on out, right? Till the wheels fall off. But I do think Tolkien would be a nice player to get a look at, but actually I don't know if he's going to do that.
I don't either. Yeah, I'd like to see Tolkien. We did shut Switzerland out in that second half.
Yeah. Somebody said that. Said we got.
I'm kidding.
You told us to win the second half. So
okay.
Yeah, you guys did draw the second half 0-0. I guess we can say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see Johnny and Luca as that double pivot, and then same front four. Unless we can, emergency fly Josh Sargent in. I mean, we actually didn't go hard on Big Pat. I mean, he tried to spread it out wide once. He kicked it all the way up into the press box.
He fell down once. Like Luca played him in.
His cleats were not on. His cleats were not well selected. Like he was slipping all over the place.
That's the thing, man. His dribbling is not. That's not necessarily a revenue. That's not a revenue stream that you can really expect to hit. Like he makes the runs, right? But as far as him turning these channel opportunities into shooting opportunities all the time, I'm a little dubious on that. I do feel like maybe we can get a little bit more from Haji in that position. I would kind of like to see it. If we can get him out in the channels running and see if he can fare better than Pat has so far in this camp. But other than that, I think we just keep cooking with what we got and let's see what happens.
Right or White, I think, right? Could be White as well, but I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. I hope not, but I don't know. I mean, White had that delightful touch on that 50-yard ball from Turner, 70-yard ball from Turner. So I mean, these are all good soccer players, but anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. Go ahead, Vince.
Well, I don't know when we're going to talk about this, so I do want to bring this up. Matt Turner rumored to Lyon, and Belz. Charlie, I don't know if you watch a lot of Lyon, but they play out of the back very audaciously, extremely audaciously. Like, probably more so than like any other European team I watched last year.
So he's got about 3 weeks as starter on his.
I wonder, man.
He's out.
I was excited at first, and then once I really sat there for a second, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, Leon.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying when he gets the ball at his feet.
You see the way they play in the. I mean, you know, they bring Matic and Tanner Tessman down in the box a lot in their own defensive third, playing the ball out and doing all this stuff. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be a nervous wreck.
Lyon must have done their scouting, right? We have to assume that you're going to spend 7 figures or thereabouts on this a player that they're familiar with. So yeah, this is, I think this is make or break maybe for him, because if we look at the Zach Steffen timeline, this could literally break him. So I hope it makes him.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Poch has made clear that dude needs to be playing games. So
yeah, I'm a little worried. Consider me a little bit worried, just because of the destination. And now, obviously,
you gotta learn French, crash course, French lessons. So maybe that's probably what Matt's doing right now in this camp. Get on that Duolingo.
Yeah, I don't know that he's like that much worse than Matt Freese with the ball at his feet, but it just feels worse. It feels like you're walking a tightrope every time the ball goes back to him.
And Freese's team plays out of the back. And NYCFC will trust him.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much, Charlie. Thanks everybody for listening. Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you.